too. Shoot. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. We are live. And we are live at the High Desert Human Design Catalyst. That we come together as a community here in Santa Fe, and we speak of human design. We share about our experiment. We explore concepts and possibilities of ways of being and loving better and bigger. And we bring ancient wisdom into our current experiment here today. And so we have started a series of conversations about the planets and how the planets interact with the gates and lines in our design. This look at the planets is through cultural wisdoms throughout the ages. We are going to look at many different cultures and what they said about these planets and what the synthesis or distillation of the whole mythology in each different culture, what are they distilling from that certain planet? And then we're going to put it together in the spiral of everything and see where you fit, where we fit in our specific design, and what archetype, what is your sun, what is your Mercury, your Venus. Last week we went through Chiron, so watch out for that video. I'm going to have it on. I wasn't brave enough to go live, but today in the sun with Jupiter conjunct Jupiter in my chart and my ascendant, I'm going for it. So today we're going to talk about the sun. And in this week, we're going to talk about, like I said, this is going to be more lecture style. And then we're going to have some communication here in the group. There is the entire council here of Catalyst. And maybe I will get brave enough to put a whole camera and you'll see us all next time. But today, I'll do a bit of a lecture, and then I'll give you some information on how you can maybe start applying some of this wisdom to your own chart. So without further ado, here we go. Next week in Catalyst, we are going to be really conversating. Everybody, hopefully, that comes will be discussing their specific sun in their design and in their experiment and how that has shown up in their life, and how they have moved in this arc of consciousness. So what I want to show you, what I want to share in the planets, it's hard talking to both things. Sorry, guys. What I want to share is that if you know me, you know my teaching of the spiral of everything. If you know me, you know that every developmental process moves in 6 steps from foundational safety to awakened embodiment. And so I apply the 6 lines of the hexagram to everything. And so I've taken the liberty to do that to the arc of the planets. And when I say the arc of the planets, what I mean is the sun. If we think of the sun as a person or a story that has been told, it starts at the beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. And if we can understand the story of that planet, we can then apply the costume of our gate and line to that story arc, and we can see ourselves within it. We can see the evolution of our consciousness that's available to us through these planets. What is happening in these mythologies is also happening in our own personal mythology, and I wanted to show that to you. So first we're going to talk about the sun. This week is going to be about the sun. And so you'll see here in the 6 lines that I talked about earlier, 1, you're here to be seen. You'll see the core mythic themes of the sun across diverse cultures and traditions, as the universal archetype representing life, order, and authority across various cultures. It embodies revelation, revealing. Right? When we think of revelation, some of us, our brains go to the Bible, but what I want you to know here is that it's revealing, and truth, serving as a guiding force, a purpose, and responsibility. The cycles of death and rebirth remind us that our right relationship to power and the natural order of existence. So while you're hearing me talk about these things, I'd love for you to apply your gate and line, or a word from your sun. Do you know a word from the archetype of your sun? What number is your sun?
My sun in my astrology?
Yes, or in your human design chart. Okay, no worries. What is your sun?
36, line 2.
Okay, so what's a word?
Compassion.
Compassion. Beautiful. So while I'm sharing this story, I would invite you to take the archetype of compassion. Compassion doesn't just happen. Compassion has an arc of evolution, an arc of development. In order to be the bodhisattva of compassion, takes an arc, a story, progress, emotional experiences in order to know who you are. So I would love for you to imagine that arc when I'm talking about being seen, stewarding your power of compassion consciously, identity as your responsibility, knowing that compassion is your responsibility. And as Jeff and I were talking earlier, compassion is nothing without action, but you had to learn that compassion is an action word, not necessarily a passive thing. And that's part of your son's mythic journey, is identity as a responsibility. Light reveals both truth and shadow. Life renews itself through cycles. Withdrawal of light follows disrespect, and true sovereignty serves the whole. These are the distillations of the stories of these mythologies that we're going to recognize as I move forward. What is your sun, Raphael? Do you know?
I know I'm a Virgo.
A Virgo.
You tell me what my son is.
So the sun in your design is gate 40, line 6. This is divine will. This is will. This is not thy will. This is not my will. This is thy will.
Yeah.
So you are the arc of the story of Raphael. Being able to be the conduit of thy will has moved through quite an evolutionary process. And so as I'm sharing these stories of the mythologies, I would love for you to apply these mythologies to your story of letting God speak through you, because you've been in an arc of that, and that is what you were designed to do. Of course, that's your work. What's your sun?
Here. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it.
I've got glasses. I'm in that phase of
No,
life
I
where I
don't know
have
if
3
it-
pairs of
there's
glasses
enough
for 3 different sites.
picture. You need one raised contacts. Raphael's in me.
There's a little circle.
23. 23. This is the very top. Oops.
It's the
Excuse
top
me.
right, right?
Yeah. 23. Assimilation. You are here to have these. Your son is here through a process of, what word would I use? Just assimilating your individual truth into the world around you. As freaky as it is, this has been your work, is to bring your truth into the world and assimilate it in it, figure out what its pieces and parts are, and bring it into the world as something that is mutative. It always is, but you're being okay with it, right? You're being okay with being seen in your freaky ideas. Your power to steward it consciously, right? You can't just tell everybody your freaky ideas. You've got to wait for right timing for it to be actually heard. That is your responsibility. You probably feel some sort of pride in your chest about being able to understand things and synthesize them in a way that changes the way we thought about something forever. So you're 23. You're assimilating your individual mutative thing into the world is your son's journey. That is what the divine in you was charged with when it came into this meat suit. This is the son in your life. What's your son?
I am fortunate to have 38, line 2.
You are. Oh, and we are about to move into this beautiful energy of struggle for purpose. It is the pressure to live as you are charged with living. When I keep hitting myself, what I'm doing is feeling this energy that exists somehow, that animates these fingers, that without this energy that is unseen, these fingers would be like a little meat suit. So this thing that's in here is the pressure, the Capricornian, we will fucking find purpose. This is your son's arc. And so, as you know, you have brilliant and wise stories that you share with us about not letting yourself be seen in this way, and actually You have stories too of not using your power consciously, or the times that you had to learn how to steward this power of tension in the world, and how it does bring awakening or it brings ego. You have lots of wisdom about how the sun in your story has done that. How about you, Jeff?
Design 1, line 3, and personality 13, line 1.
13 line 1 is your personality
Personality.
sun.
Yeah.
Oh, the cellular listening, the this isn't just hearing, this is all of the water in your body is so sensitive to the frequency of the field that you exist with, and it's hearing everything. And that journey from safety and insecurity about that into security, and moving it into a way that is able to to be the empath, is able to feel with the other without becoming dysregulated in yourself. You are designed to be in the field of the other and let your water vibrate as their water vibrates. But the story, the arc of that, right? That's what we're going to learn in the sun. What that has moved from, what the developmental processes that are available to you are, and where you're headed in that way.
Didn't he? 36 too.
Oh yes, 36. I'm 24. I moved from addiction to invention. And I'm going to say invention is here, and my inventions are individual, and they're mutative, and they change the way we think about things, and they come from something that we've never known before, an occult kind of way. And I can either be addicted to the same ways of thinking about the things that we've always thought about, or I can allow myself to be individual and freaky like you and come up with something, a new concept that brings this crown into form. That is my son's journey, and the arc of that in my life, being seen in that way, has caused physical violence on my body. But that's the arc of the sun, right? The sun goes up, the sun goes down into the dark. This is what happens in our expressions of our sun. Where are you, Dream of Dreams?
I'm trying to find it. I used to have that app, but I don't anymore.
I think I have it.
Paid for it.
Oh, no, I don't have it.
Do I have anything? I usually
You
have
You have
do.
something.
Yes, of course you
You
do.
just don't have the other end of the channel.
I might have it here.
I can't even see this.
And so anyone who is on YouTube who is watching, I cannot see you because I have a slideshow up that you see behind me. So if you're asking questions or putting in your gates and lines, I will do my best to come back and kind of talk through that like I'm doing everybody in the room. But thank you for having patience. So while Drema waits for that, no, I think I'm going to wait for Drema.
I can't find it.
Did you give Jeff the info? Okay.
Would you put the previous slide back?
Yes.
See that? The
This-
other one with the coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to get into this one. So this was a really fun exploration. What I did, or what I have been doing, is obviously building my cultural understanding of these deities, of these planets. I understand the astrological story, but when diving into all of the different cultures, I was able to see such a broader spectrum of what's available. And so I've tried to frame them without all of the details, but with the essence. I've tried to distill the essence. So here, Ra's journey through the underworld each night, teaching us that light must face darkness, right? The sun is the creator, the sustainer of Ma'at, or the cosmic order. Aten, the sun as pure, formless life force. Akhenaten's revolution framed as the sun is one of the sources behind all forms. Horus, the sun is rightful kingship and divine sight. Leadership aligned with truth protects the land. So the distillation of those three sun gods of the Egyptian pantheon is authority must be aligned with cosmic law, not personal desire. This is the distillation, I believe, of those three mythological teachings that we've all heard so much about. Understanding that authority is cosmic law, that these planets have been spinning and correcting themselves for millennia, much longer than we've been around. And so understanding that there is an alignment with an internal order, not personal desire. This is our first experience as our away from our sun. We are our sun in the first 7 years. We're not even talked out of it. We are who we be. And that's just the way we be. And we're processed out of that expression. Once we find a personal desire to be liked and loved and appreciated, once our first caregiver takes like love and appreciation from us, now we have personal desire. That is that very first separation from our sun. So one of the very first teachings, and I've put it in this order, I believe, for a reason, is that it's not about personal desire, that expression of sun. It is the journey to aligning back with cosmic law.
31-1.
Oh, 31-1. I love 31-1. This is a special place in my design too. And 31 is about, it's about, I want to say, well, it's the other side of the alpha channel. But when I say the word alpha, there's a whole lexicon that comes to people's minds. But what I mean, what an alpha is the thing that goes first. If we think of alpha and omega, alpha is the thing that went first despite anything else around it. It is the thing that moves from within. It is the voice of that leadership. It is the voice of movement from within. It is the leadership in voice. And when you lead yourself, that is you being the alpha. That's when we see, oh, maybe we should follow her. Maybe we could follow her. Maybe whatever the correctness is in your reflectorness. And I hear that a lot. You offer your guidance and leadership a lot in the community as a valued, not just elder, but reflector as well. What you offer as those movements, no judgment, just movements. Dreama moves. Dreama doesn't judge. Dreama loves everybody. But where Dreama moves is the alpha for all of us. And so your movement has had an arc of being like, I know that I'm to move with my own direction and people love to follow me, but you probably have stories in which you were talked out of doing that, right? And so that is that initial journey of the sun into its first realm of darkness. In Mesopotamian, Shamash and Utu, this represents justice. The sun is justice, law, and moral clarity. Shamash sees all and exposes the truth and falsehood alike. So this distillation is nothing hidden, survives the light of truth. This is 36 all day long. Nothing hidden survives the light of truth. Nothing untrue survives. Only love exists. This is that energy, that light, your sun. Okay, so how do we take this personally inside? Nothing hidden survives the light of truth. So when the divine inside, the alignment with our sun, the ability to move from internal cosmic law, not personal desire, when in alignment with that, the light of truth dissolves everything that is not true. That is what Shamash and Utu teaches us, or have taught us, at least me. Ancient Greece and Rome, Helios, the all-seeing witness. Helios reveals secrets and observes oaths. Apollo, the sun, as reason, prophecy, harmony, healing. Light brings clarity, but excess brings hubris. We've talked about this. For me, for sure, my light brings clarity to people when I am moving with the divine will that moves my Saturn in gate 40. When I'm moving in that way, my light brings growth, brings clarity. When I think it's Brandy doing it, hubris takes over. And I get a little over the top and people get real confused. It's just my story. I know it in myself, this sun, this balance between the light and dark. So illumination without humility becomes destruction. Because now I've ruined my impact because I started thinking I knew what I was talking about.
On those pictures, which one's Apollo and which one's Helios?
Helios is the one that is holding the cross, and Apollo is the one with the
On the
crown.
With the
Mm-hmm.
crown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the light endures even when civilizations fall. So even when everything around you in life crumbles, the light is still there within you. The light within you will still resource you. That light is the God within. That 36, my 24, that coming back to my own internal sense of knowing the cosmos, that is my internal sun. That's what grows the heat of the flame of my heart. It's the thing I can always come back to. It's the thing you can always come back to grow the flame of your heart, that light that endures inside. Especially when I get lost in my brain. This is one that I love, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I love, especially at this time of year, the myth of Christ. And some people look at me sideways when I say the myth of Christ, but I believe that Christ functions as a solar deity rather than a historic person, following the sun's sacred cycles, born at winter solstice when the sun stands still, crucified at the equinox, back into the dark, resurrecting as a return of the light. So Christ inherits the role of the unconquered sun, reframed as love, embodied rather than power. I invite you, if you ever read a Bible passage again, to replace S-O-N with S-U-N and what you know about physics and the planets, and see what sense that makes for you. Made much more sense for me when I read it that way. Christ as sun mirrors, as S-O-N mirrors S-U-N as the visible expression of the invisible source. The message here, I believe, is true illumination is not dominance, but incarnation. Salvation comes from embodiment, not escape. Salvation is inside of us, all of us. And I believe that's what Christ as the S-U-N teaches us. In the Hindu tradition, this is the one I'm the least versed in. So I was hoping Meher was here to help enliven us, and maybe she will next week. But the sun is Atman, or the soul, vitality and dharma, sees karma unfolding and grants clarity of purpose. So right action arising from inner illumination. This is what we follow human design for, and the gene keys. Right action comes from inner illumination. This is talking about the soul from within, the vitality and the dharma from within, the sun, that gate that we talked about, that archetype is every time we lose balance, that sun from within, that inside, that inner illumination, that is the thing that we are here to evolve, not everything. There could be chaos around us. And that word that you come up with for your sun's archetype, that's our root. That's where we will come back to and let that burn the heat of our heart again. And then right answer will come. It's not everything in the world. I know if you're anything like me, I thought I had to figure it all out, but really I just have to come back to what is my individual truth about what God is trying to do here, because that's my only job as the sun. And that's my 24, line 6. Some of the indigenous sun deities, which I just think are so breathtakingly beautiful. Inti, the sun as ancestor and communal provider. I was practicing this one, but I just don't want to destroy it, so I'm not going to. This other beautiful deity is the sun as warrior consciousness, requiring participation and devotion to keep the cosmos alive. We were talking about that earlier. This is not a passive process. This sun in me, these epiphanies that come, this 24, these inventions that come, they come when I participate as myself with the world. It's not just that they're coming because I am here. There's an active participation in your emotional progress as the sun in the world. There is, what was your 40? There is interaction with the divine. You can't just sit there and God move your mouth. No, you have instruments of communication that bring forth the divine from you. So this teaching, these indigenous teachings, I believe the distillation of is that life requires reciprocal relationship, not passive worship, not waiting for something to happen to you, but actually engaging with the worship of life as the fire burns in your heart. I feel like a sermon here a little bit. Japanese and Norse traditions. The sun is sacred feminine. This is one of my favorite stories. Sacred feminine presence and social harmony. When she withdraws, the world falls into darkness. So one of the distillations here is light withdraws when respect and reverence are broken. Whether I allow you to disrespect or disrevere myself, or I do it to myself, this is when I'm going into the cave of my darkness. And that's where she went. She went into the cave until respect was revered. And so did Sekhmet. Well, she drank the blood and got drunk and laid there in the blood, but she woke up when she was not respected or revered and made blood and then got drunk again in it. But this is the Egyptian version of that femininity. And then in Norse tradition, Sol, the sun chased by chaos, destined to be reborn after Ragnarok. So the story here is every cosmic destruction contains continuity. So every time the darkness falls in your heart or in outside of you, every time you can't feel the sun, understanding and remembering and trusting that destruction contains the light, that continuity comes. So having that trust that although chaos abounds, the sun will rise and the sun will fall and the sun will rise and the sun will fall. The sun inside of me, even though chaos abounds, even though I cannot find myself in the darkness of my heart some days, I know that I will be back. This too shall pass. These things that we say to ourselves to remember that the light of me is not bad and wrong, even if in the darkness of my darkestness, it feels that way. Some of the alchemy and esoteric symbolism of the sun is gold, consciousness, individuation, the fully realized self. You know, the sun is the end point and the beginning point. The sun is the thing that hits the seed that creates the stalk. And it's also the thing that deteriorates it into nothingness when it dies. So the sun is the alpha and the omega. So when we're looking at our charts, now I'm going back into these practical logical brain. So when you're looking at your charts, remembering that everything in the chart is supporting that. Every Mercury, Venus, Mars, every story that they play is supporting the beginning and ending of growth of your sun's archetype. Why is that important? Why do I feel it's important? Because I feel like God lives inside of me, whatever I call God, the universe, animation, lives inside of me for a purpose. Not for all 64 purposes, but for mine. And I'm charged with the responsibility of moving through the spectrum of consciousness that is available to me. Not just sitting here waiting for life to bat me around, but to explore the spectrum of consciousness from addicted to thinking about everything the way everybody's always thought about it into, oh my gosh, this is the most wild and outlandish way I could ever think about anything, and it could never be integrated into the world. Hilda will never assimilate this crazy thought. And then everything in between. And I feel like I'm charged with the responsibility of filling the pages of the collective unconscious with my story of 24. And every planet in my design is here to support that in one way or another. And so your number, your archetype, every planet in your design is here to support that mission. Mission, such a manly way to say it. So I'm back to this again, the shared mythic lesson. You're here to be seen in that way. I'm here to be seen in my new inventions, even though they scare the shit out of me. that nobody will believe me and that nobody is ready for it. And I have to keep saying it over and over and over again until people are ready for it. I don't know if I have the power to steward that consciously. It feels like a big fat responsibility. But you know what? I'm just going to keep being it. And the light is going to reveal what is true and what is untrue. And that's how I move through my trauma, by the way. My son takes me right through my trauma. What I mean by trauma is everything that I've believed about myself that stopped my son from shining. That's all I mean trauma is. And so the light, when I let my son shine, it reveals what is untrue and what is true inside of me if I let it, without intervention, but acknowledgement and awareness. And I get renewed through the cycles, remembering that there is a time for me to be dark and sad, and there is a time for me to be shining. And just because I'm not shining all the time doesn't mean that I am bad, wrong, or shameful, that there are cycles of this. Withdrawal of light follows disrespect. This is a big one that I struggled with even putting in here, you guys, because I thought that this was a personal thought or idea, because I'm a double respect person and respect is very important to me. But what I noticed when I took this thought outside of me and I applied it to the world around me, and I saw that the way plants moved, and I saw the way the dog packs in my neighborhood come and go, and I noticed the communication that I had between people that was good and maybe that could have been more skillful. And I watched the way that the winter was letting go of itself a little bit. I could see that when your natural movement is not allowed, that's disrespect. Like entropies, the plant entropies when you step on it. The dogs, if they run. The light moves. The light moves when it's disrespected. What does disrespect mean? Disrespect means not allowed to be in its natural state. So that's why I put it back in. True sovereignty serves the whole. This is the faith that I believe that lots of the Bible and other books talk about. This is the faith in that you exist. And so because you exist, there is a service to the rest of it in your existence. So now I want to apply my spiral of everything teaching, and I want you to think about your lines. Okay, so I am a 6-2. What is your sun? My sun is a 6, line 6. Can I see your chart again? Can I see you guys' charts
It's
again?
46, 40 line 6.
40, line 6. You are also a line 6, like I
I'm
am.
6'2" as
You're a
well.
6-2.
31.
31. You're a 1-3, I remember.
2-5.
2-5.
Line 1.
1.
Son, line 2.
You're a 2. 2-2. 1-1. 6-6.
1.
1. 1-2-6. Okay. So let's just try this on for size. This is one of these 24 things, guys. So as a line 1, our line 1s, the source embodies the essence of existence, representing the beginning of life and energy that sustains all creation. So if I'm thinking about 23, line 1, it is the source of individuated ideas, the essence of existing, representing the beginning of life and energy that sustains all creation. So this is your process, is bringing through in a way that sustains creation for you. Whatever that epiphany is, whatever that concept that is coming through for expression, the way that you explain it. Let's go to your hat making. The way that you explained the first layer, and then the second layer, and then the third layer, and you explained everything, and then you let people do what they did. But you explained, you went to the source, you embodied the essence of the thing that you were bringing through, the concept that you were allowing someone to participate in, that would have them have some kind of mutated feeling about the crown of their ajna. Remember? the beginning, the energy that sustains the thing. So you probably talked about the proper glue. The materials that you had were top notch. You were not using some dollar store felt, right? It was really about building the foundation of the thing. I mean, unless it was dollar store felt, but it was really strong.
Recycled material.
It was really strong. It was really quality material. But the point is that in order you do your things, your sun shines in a first line way. Your sun shines as the embodiment of the essence of the first of a thing, of the foundation of a thing. Why is this important? Why does this feel like something? Because the psychological function of this is identity begins as survival. I exist because I'm alive. And so that is the work that you are doing here is I'm alive, I exist, I'm safe. I'm alive, I exist, I'm safe. Your assimilations of your truth, I exist, I'm alive, I'm safe. That is all your sun is doing in this life as Hilda is assimilating from unsafety into safety to make it survive, to build a foundation of the thing. And what can keep you from that is fear of disappearance or dependency on external validation for existence. So the lesson for your sun is that life itself is enough to justify being. This is the first line. Life itself is enough to justify being. If I'm searching for a way, how do I shine? How do I shine? Life itself. This is the first line teaching of the sun. And so fear of disappearance, right? The fear, dependency on external validation for existence. Remember, that's not what the sun is doing. The sun is an internal combustion fireball from within. So the sun is raw life force, heat, photosynthesis, the timekeeper. Without it, nothing exists. The sun is born each day. The sun rises because life requires it. The sun is unquestioned necessity. In line 1. So now we're going to go to line 2. The sun as radiance, innate gifts, innocence, effortless expression, right? Let's all put the sun in our mind and the nuclear fusion that takes place inside the sun and the perpetuation. That is nuclear fusion, right? That is perpetuation. That's what makes it that way, is that it is self-perpetuating. The sun shines because it is the sun. No striving, no proving. Second lines, identity as natural expression. I am myself, being myself. That's it. Not I am myself and I'm insecure about being myself. Not I am myself and I need to substantiate my existence. No. I am myself by being myself. It's not contrived. It's not in your mind. For instance, with a first, okay, I am alive. How do I shine? Okay, I let myself be. There is a yanging myself into existence. With a second line, there's no yanging yourself into existence. It comes from within. Your process is letting it come out. When distorted is withdrawal, expecting others to come find you without you being engaged. Expecting others to come find you without you being engaged. The sun is engaged in everything it touches. The sun comes out every single day and engages itself in its work. And radiance is not earned, it's revealed. So the sun in a second line is about revealing yourself, not earning a place somewhere in your 36, right? Not earning your place because you've processed these emotions, or you're bringing in a new experience, or you're able to find compassion in the hunger of things. That's not a doing, that's a being. Whereas for a 1, it's more of a doing, the sun is. For a 2, it's a being. It's a letting that exist. What is your 38? Oh my gosh, it's not a doing, right? You talk about this. You talk about the times that you have tried to provoke from your ego state and the craziness that has ensued, and the times where you've just existed as the light of who you are, and that provides the tension for people to have those epiphanies like Cassiopeia just did with you. Yeah, it's about being, it's not about a doing. So for a 2, it's a yin process of revealing yourself, not being your sun. It's revealing the sun within you. I'm going to go to the 6th line because that's who is, well, no, I'm going to go to the 3rd, but I'll be fast. 3rd line is a trial and power, right? The sun becomes dangerous. The sun burns, the sun blinds, and get too close to it and you die. I'm not saying all 3rd lines are about death, but they are about the bonds made and broken. They are about, any 3rd line sun is about getting close enough to something to burn and then backing off and learning what is needed to be learned in that process in order to make something new happen. A 3rd line is showing us what the 1 and the 2 now gets to move into. So the sun is the chariots. This is when the chariots crash. This is when the heroes overreach in the story. This is when civilization learns the misuse of power. But this is what all good evolution is made from, is these trials and errors. So the psychological function here is identity is testing through action. I discover who I am by what fails. So anyone who has a 3rd line personality sun, you discover who you are through what fails. So in this sun's archetype, understanding that the sun that you are is going to have that effect, that without wisdom, we will scorch one another. That's a 3rd line. 4th line, the sun becomes the judge, the witness, and the moral center. The psychological function here is identity gains responsibility. Who I am affects others. Now we've gotten to the 2nd trigram. We're almost there. Oh, thank you. Identity gains responsibility in the 4th line. What does that mean? In the 1st, the 2nd, and 3rd, we are who am I. In the 4th line, now we have a responsibility for being who we are. The sun sees all. Oaths are sworn in daylight. Justice emerges through visibility. These are some of the stories we learn in the myth. The psychological function here of a 4th line sun is identity. Oh, excuse me, I said this. Identity gains responsibility. Who I am affects others. This is the arc of learning here in the 4th line. The shadow, when distorted here, is moral superiority, righteousness, or weaponized truth. And the arc of the 4th line personality is illumination serves coherence, not dominance. So this 4th line is about illuminating fractals that are in coherence, not dominance. 5th line sun. The sun is king, ruler, emperor, or civilizing force. Here in the 5th line, this is about sovereignty. This is about the divine right of kings or solar empires. This psychological function is identity carries influence. I shape reality for many. If you have a 5th line sun, through that sun's archetypal expression, you shape other people's realities. When distorted, there could be some kind of tyranny or savior complexes. Your identity infuses with the power you feel when you change someone's reality. So your authority must serve life, not your self-image. That's a 5th line sun. Say it one more time. Authority must serve life, not self-image. And then the 6th line is consciousness itself. This is when the sun in the story becomes the witness, or when there's integration or transcendence. So this is the psychological function here is identity relaxes, and we remember we're not the role, that we're the light behind it. This is when I'm saying, look, I'm not this Brandy thing. This Brandy is just a collection of neurology over 46 years. I am actually the light behind the role. And I identify as that. I feel that. But when I'm distorted, I'm disengaged and I'm spiritually bypassing and I'm floating above life instead of engaging in it, right, Raphael? These are our suns. The sun lesson is true radiance illuminates without needing to be central. So part of the story of the sun in the 6th line is being in life all the way. Everybody's in life and feeling and seeing and being bad, wrong, and shameful, and then coming out above life and seeing how everything is so beautiful and perfect and living with one foot in both. Not in either one exclusively. True radiance illuminates without the need to be central. So, the full spiral in one sentence of the sun of all of these mythologies is that the sun evolves from existence to expression to power to responsibility to leadership to presence. All of our suns in all of our charts are doing that. And so I'm going to take it just one step further into your, how does this play with the earth in your design? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to go into the earth next time. And the sun and earth are intricately linked and they can't be taken apart from one another. The sun is shining. And the only reason that that's important to us is because we're on the earth. And so, in the first line, for our first line people, your sun illuminates existence, vitality, and being alive. The earth stabilizes survival, body, safety, material grounding. So your sun is here to establish safety and trust in existence, safety and trust in leadership, safety and trust in brand new ideas, safety and trust in, what was his number? What's your number? 13, safety and trust. Oh, in frequency. So you are here to learn, or to fear-based identity or proving worth. That's distortion. Aligned expression is resting in your body and your basic trust. Your solar theme is the sun rises so life can exist. You rise. Your sun is here so life can exist. You are building the foundation for that in your leadership, in your listening, and in your speech. Second lines. Effortless expression of innate light. That's the sun, right? Effortless expression of your innate light. The earth provides correct environment for the recognition, right? The sun is shining, but without the earth, nothing would be recognized. So your earth is the soil in which you're recognized. So your earth is in 39, right? Mm-hmm. So your earth is in also this very pressure-filled, that's beautiful. The pressure to align with the purpose of your life is anchored in the provocation of their emotional spirit. What did you
get the last part? Provocation of my emotional spirit.
Right. Let's talk about Cassiopeia. You just sat here, and because your sun shined 38, because you put the pressure of what was the reason for all of that. Let's bring it up. Let's see it. Let's see it. And then there was an overall epiphany. You provoked 39, an overall epiphany. What is 39 pointing to? 55, the spirit of self, the true emotional expression of who I be in this meat suit right now. So 38, the pressure to fight for life is in service of the provocation of my emotional truth.
Hey,
so it's grounded there.
Yeah,
it is for sure.
A good 1-2 punch, isn't it?
So the sun doesn't act all alone. It is cultivated through the earth in your design.
That's cool.
Yeah. So when we're talking about your earth provides the correct environment for your sun to be recognized, provides you're a 6, right? Mm-hmm. So that rich field of friction, I'm going to say friction, right? The sun wanting to lick up the world creates the friction that brings intimacy together. So without the friction, without two things coming together, making something different, that's what that 36, that's the light of that 36 brings something from bad to good, from seed to sprout, from, but without the earth, who cares what experiences we have? Without this body, who cares, right? We could know everything. I feel like 36 is why whatever this divine thing is came into form, is because it knew everything it could possibly know about everything it could possibly know, but it had not experienced it in form. And I feel like 36 is part of that beauty. Okay, so your developmental task, right, is to allow your natural gifts to emerge without forcing. And it seems like the simplest thing in the world. And I want to tell you all, it is, and let it be. We think it should be much harder than it is, and just let it be easy. 6s. I know we've been here for a bit, almost an hour. That's good. I'm going to go to 3 and be fast. 3 is activates experimentation and risk. That's the sun. The sun in line 3 activates experimentation and risk. The Earth's function is to deliver consequence, feedback, and friction so that we can learn containment and respect for power. A 4 illuminates values, directions, and ethics, is the sun's function. The Earth's function is grounds truth through relationship and community. Why? To use clarity to build trust and coherence. Line 5 carries projected leadership and influence. That's the sun. The Earth demands responsibility, stewardship, and humility. Why? To lead in service of life, not self. And then 6 is consciousness. That's the solar archetype. The sun's functions as awareness itself. What does our Earth do? Anchors presence in ordinary human life. So your Earth is in 37. And 37 is the connection, the tender connection to your communities, the love that is shared, the emotional depth of belonging in your communities is how divine will gets in. So as a 6, for me, it's 44. It's networks, it's building communities. For me, the intuitive knowing of who my fractal is allows my inventions to take hold.
And what's your Earth? Is it what?
44.
44.
Mm-hmm. Why? So why the sun functions as awareness, the Earth anchors presence in ordinary human life. Why? To remain embodied while holding wisdom. This is my contemplation on the sun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yay.
Cool.
I would love to hear what anyone else thought or what came alive.
Well, the Sun-Earth relationship you illuminated, I think, is really quite. The Earth is where you planet, and the light's what makes it grow.
Right. Oh, and you as a gardener know exactly that relationship. Yeah.
And so it really helps us to extend the amplification of our intention by being able to know that relationship as a dynamic duo.
Mm-hmm.
And now knowing that my line 2, 38 is, for me, it's, I don't know, perseverance is always my key word for
Perseverance, beautiful word.
that. And
because it is.
yeah. And I mean, I acted this whole thing out of my life to make 13 gardens and grow 4,000 pounds of vegetables a year. I had to plant it in the earth to, prove that it would be possible to allow that line 2 to express itself. That is the perseverance.
That's right.
And so it just turns out that it was just simply a personal experiment that intuitively came through the design of that interpretation.
Yeah.
And I see so amazingly how all the time as we get these little nuggets, and it really is quite dynamic to have the sun earth relationship. I've always concentrated on the sun moon relationship
Right.
all the time. I'd never really thought of sun earth relationship as a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
basically tool that we have to use as being on the path to be who we are.
Right.
And sun earth is a real
Excuse me.
manifestation. That is what it is that your purpose is guided to.
Right.
And that's very eloquent that those simple little things
Yeah.
are in the design.
I love it. Isn't it so funny? Like it's choreographed or something for this beautiful paradoxical exchange of energy.
Uh-huh.
And I love that. Again, you're a gardener. Like as I'm listening to your talk, I'm just listening to how beautiful a cross of tension. Like why does frequency need tension? Frequency needs tension for movement. And so of course you are in the practice of, consciously or not, in the practice of holding the proper tension for tomatoes to grow. Holding the proper tension between the sun and the earth for 13 garden beds. So this cross of tension is needed for anything to be produced. Tension is needed in energies for anything to be produced. So I just love it.
The spelling gets screwed up a little bit, but when you were saying that, it was like tension, intention,
Oh, uh-huh.
and the pursuit of my metaphysical experience really started out building these geometries.
Mm-hmm.
And I became so intrigued because I saw that there's a field that they generate that amplifies my intention.
Mm-hmm.
And just by being in the presence of something that has, in a sense, a subtle field itself, we get the coherence, as you guys were talking about earlier, for these
Intentions.
and the tension that I'm holding is the intention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In order for it to expand in a coherent field. And I had to do a lot of work within me to become a coherent field within my own presence. And
That's our work.
then it just amplifies. And for me, it's magic.
It is magic. Becoming the strongest metronome in the room, I call it.
Tick, tick.
Yeah. You just entrain everybody else. Anything else come alive? I know it's a lot of information in the late hour.
I was getting a sense that we begin the sun with number one begins with essence,
Mm-hmm.
and you might say presence.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to number 6, you come back to that
Mm-hmm. In the witness way.
of being of the beat.
Explain that again. Say that again. It's really good, but I missed the first half.
The first part is the 2 words that struck me about number 1 for the sun was essence and presence.
Mm-hmm.
It just exists, right? And then when you get to the consciousness in number 6, you come back to that place of consciousness of being just the essence.
Mm-hmm.
Without the ego, then is absorbed into just being.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how we define ego. This word is real loaded because you are present as the witness as yourself in the 6th line, right? It's not the abandonment of self to witness
No, of
in
course.
presence. It is self and witness.
Integrated with
Self
the,
as witness, I should say.
well, I would say that the so-called ego, which is necessary,
Mm-hmm.
is integrated
Yeah.
with the essence. And again, we come back to just presence.
Right. Right. Presence is at both spirals, the beginning of both spirals. Presence allows the essence to exist and then move through the spiral. And 6 is allowing the essence fully to inhabit the body as the witness.
In a way, it's also it's a bringing of sun and earth together,
Yeah.
because there's an expression
Hmm.
that derives from presence.
That's quantum physics right there.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. I think these 6 lines have a lot for us, a lot more than has been explored. I think that, again, as someone, I'm an inventor of tools, if you remember. And then I'm going to layer this on. Chiron is also conjunct my sun. So I create tools to move through pain, to move through wounding. What is my wounding? My wounding is also myself, my individual ways that I invent. My wounding is also my sun. So I create tools so that I can exist as myself through the pain of being. And this hexagram, these lines, have become the number one tool that I have come back to. Pain after pain after pain that help me find myself on the map. And so when I find myself on the map and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just learning to be in the trial and error of this thing, then I can remember that I'm here to find play instead of pessimism, because pessimism is that suffering. I create tools to where our mind can move us out of suffering and into the being of existence. And this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has helped parent me through all of that. So I apply it to everything because I think that it really is
Do you have
helpful.
this whole presentation in some kind of written form?
No, I just created it 30 minutes before I got here. I'm perfectly honest with you.
Everything.
Because it's there's so much in there to ponder, and it's hard to absorb.
I
so
would
much
love to write it. Thank you for that
information and
invitation.
so much,
It is.
how it's all interconnected.
Hmm.
You got to sit with it, read it, and absorb it.
Yeah.
And ponder on each present. Each part
I
of
will
it.
send you to my Substack, and I write a lot in there. And I have something written for the Chiron class that we did that I'll post. So I will put it in writing in my Substack. And so
Your
you can
video
email.
will be available.
Hmm?
Your video will remain on.
Yes,
Of
yes,
course,
and
if
this
you
one.
use the AI summary thing, or even as you were talking, the whole thing, you could have the whole thing actually already laid out for you, transcribed.
Right. So we will do that, and
It's a
I
good
will
tool. You could-
make it available. Yeah.
Well, yes, because there's so much to absorb.
There
that,
is.
that you need to be able to ponder it and reread it,
Mhm.
and then I see this, and this is that's beautiful. All those, because it goes by so quickly.
Right, right. Thank you. I will do that.
Thank you.
Well, even now that you've done this, I assume it's recorded,
Mm-hmm.
so that can still be transcribed.
That's right. Yep. Yay. Well, if anyone has questions, please put them here and I will answer them in time. Thank you.